this week's edition of Yo, Vinnie, what are you driving this week? What about the show?
Yo, Vinnie, what are you driving this week?
Have a little fun. It is a fun day here out at
You're listening to Drivetime Radio.
Remember, just plug in. I'm ready.
Okay, it's a beautiful. All right, here we go. There we go. There we go. We knew we could get here somewhere. Hello, good morning. How are you? It's Drive Radio with your technically challenged pal, Dog Vinnie. One day I'll get it all right, but sorry for the day and getting on the air this morning. I misplaced something. I couldn't find it. And you know, when you misplace something over here, you just grab the sheet and you look and it's there. On a computer, you got to start looking in different places. And sometimes I'm not so good at that as I used to be. Actually, you know, you want to be honest, I was never really that good at it. It always kind of came from people that I was working with that, you know, they knew what, you know, how the show went, and we put it up, and that was the key to my success. My success was never me. It was always the people I worked with, you know, technically. I mean, I might have had the wit and the wisdom. Well, I might have had the wisdom. No, I might have had the wit. Anyway, we are now live, and we are with you. We are going to be live on Instagram, and as soon as I click the schlamiesel here and get it going. You know, you never know with the Instagram exactly what's going to happen, but I believe we'll be live there as well in just a second. And so we welcome all the people that are listening this morning on Instagram as well. It's a beautiful, well, you know, I mean, it's a nice morning. It's cold. It's been cold. I was freezing my tuchus off last night, but it's better today. At least the days are sunny. You know, at least you go outside and it may be cold, but there's sunshine out there. And I'll take that over the rainy, schmutzy gloom that we usually have at this time of year. I'll take the cold and I'll take the sunshine, because at least I can go sit outside, or go sit in the park, or go sit by the lake or something like that and get some vitamin C in my system. You know, the other way, when you don't see the sun for 6 months, you start to get a little worried. Like, is it ever going to come back? Is it still out there? So, you know, you have to appreciate the little things. It doesn't seem that way in the rest of the country. You know, it sounds like everything east of Denver is going to be just a mess with you know, the snow and sleet and ice and rain and freezing rain and everything else that winter can throw at somebody. I was actually originally scheduled to be back east this week. I got a project that I was working on in Pittsburgh, and we called it off when we saw all this weather that was coming up. We'll get to it in a couple of weeks, but man, oh man, it was. It just looks like it's going to be a mess back there, and you know, it's one of those things where you just got to deal with it. You know, like here, you know, people kind of admit that they can't drive in winter weather for the most part, and they say, okay, I'll stay inside. I won't go out. I won't drive in the winter weather. And that's probably the best thing you can do. If you don't have to be out in it, don't be out in it. Because you know what happens here. You always see it. I saw it last year. I was driving home up I-5, and it started to snow, 12 o'clock, 12:30 at night. And all of a sudden, this pickup truck. He's got the big tires and everything, and in the left lane, and he's doing like 75 miles an hour. And I'm going, man, you're gonna kill somebody like that. I don't get, you kill yourself. That's one thing, but don't take innocent people with you. That's what bugs me about that kind of stuff. Is that if you want to drive like an idiot, if you want to destroy yourself or your car or whatever, hey, you know what? No problem. But when you're on a freeway like that, when you're on a highway like that, chances are you're going to take somebody with you who is doing nothing but, driving along, trying to get through the snowstorm. That's all they were doing. And you're going to wind up taking them with you. So, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But, I'm not going to change. The people that do that kind of stuff, you're not going to change their mind. They are what they are, and nothing short of a serious accident really ever changes their mind. They'll drive like that until, I guess, until something happens to slow them down. I mean, I think about my younger days when I used to drive like that. I drove like that. I was an idiot when I was a kid, but I finally got to a point in my life where I started to value life a lot more. You go from that being invulnerable and thinking that nothing can happen to you to finding out that something can happen to you. And you really got to pace yourself, and you got to respect other people that are on the road with you. And you have to adhere to some rules for the good of everybody. And a lot of times that's when it changes around for people. Or after a serious accident, a death, something like that, something gets changed in their minds, and they finally start to respect other people. All right, I got a good show for you today. Lots of news and information, couple of reviews. We'll take a look at the what I'm driving this week, which is the Subaru Forester Wilderness Edition. We'll take a look at that in just a couple of minutes. Also got a review for you. But let's get there. Oh, we got a new feature, too. We got a second edition of that new feature, Car Spotting, that we tried out last week and got some good reaction to. And so we put another little tape together for Car Spotting. So that a little, I call it, a little video together for Car Spotting. And we'll see what this week's is. I think it's a cool car. I never had one, and I always wanted one. And now they've gone up in value so much that I don't know that I could afford one anymore. But we'll see. Sorry, my throat. I think I told you that I'm having dental work done. And for some reason, my throat just gets a lot more drier than it usually is. Usually I'm all right, but this the last few weeks especially, I've noticed it's been a lot drier. All right, what do we got happening? I was going to go down to Cars and Coffee this morning. I just didn't make it. I had to edit some video. And so I don't know. I was interested to see how many people show up at Cars and Coffee on a freezing cold morning like this. Hopefully a bunch of people showed up there. It always makes me feel good when I see, the hardy people out, with their cars and enjoying that community of Cars and Coffee. It's always good. Always gives me a good feeling to see that. All right, let's hit some of the stories that we have this going this morning. I'm a little, I'm old school. I still use a pad and paper to sketch out the show. I still have to have a show sheet in front of me. So let's see. What do we have coming up here? All right. Uh, you know, last year or the year before was catalytic converters, right? You know, people were coming out, their catalytic converters were gone, their car was jacked up, and they started their car up and it made a racket, woke up all the neighbors, and cost you, I don't know, a couple of hundred, maybe up to $1,000 to replace your catalytic converter. They were, thieves were getting them and they were selling them. And it always upsets me with this selling parts to people because, somebody's got to buy the parts too. And it opens the market for the people that, want to go steal these things. It's not a small thing to slide under a car and steal a catalytic converter. I mean, you got to have a saw. You got to have something to jack the car up usually, or you got to be skinny enough to slide under a car and get under there with one of these battery-operated, saws and saw that thing off and grab it. And you got to do all of that while nobody's watching you. Not an easy thing. So I guess the Thieves Union, chapter, Local 13, Villains, Scoundrels, and Thieves, wanted something easy to come up with so that their members could go out and steal something a little easier. And lo and behold, they've come up with something. On most newer cars, especially luxury cars, Mercedes, Acura, I know has this. There's a number of brands where they have that nice, beautiful emblem on the front of the car. If it's a Mercedes, it's that TriStar. The Acura has that A. Lexus has that L in a circle. Well, if you look close in that thing, that's where your camera and a few other things, your LiDAR system is located in many cars. That's the reason they have the big emblem on it, so they can pack this stuff in there without anybody seeing it. Well, it turns out that these emblems are now becoming targets for thieves. Several police departments around the country are reporting that people are coming out of their houses or coming to parking lots and finding that these emblems have been swiped off the car. And with that goes the camera. And some, depending on the model of the car, any other equipment that's in there. And, some guy isn't just putting them around his chest and walking around, yo, yo, yo. These things, these emblems can retail for $3,000 to $4,000. A lot more than a catalytic converter, huh? And there are body shops that will buy them. Crooked parts places, body shops, chop shops. Listen, you steal something, there's always somebody that'll buy it. And the thieves, they get a couple of $100 for it. That's all they're worried about. And so those ADAS, assisted driving or automatic driving assistance systems emblems are becoming big-time targets for thieves. I don't know what you do. The catalytic converter, I mean, some guy invented a lock for it, or other people saying, well, park your car in a parking lot, where there's always somebody there, or make sure you park it on where there's low ground clearance, all that kind of stuff. I don't know what you do for the emblem. I don't know. Do you park close to the car in front of you so that they can't get to it? You put a lock around. I don't know if you can put a lock around it. I don't know what you can do about those, but expect that if you own one of those cars, you get in your car one morning and you're driving along and your front camera doesn't work, or your lane keeping system doesn't work, or your electronic cruise control doesn't work, well, you heard it here first. I didn't steal it from you. I have no use for them, but be aware that those things are out there and on the in play for the thieves. The 2027 Bolt is coming. The Chevy Bolt is on its way. This is well, it's all screwed up, but not the car, but all the politics and stuff around it. So the 2027 Bolt from Chevy is in production. It's on the way to showrooms now. My friend at Chevy told me that they're on the way to the press fleets. I should be able to drive one in the next couple of weeks. Now, this is the Chevy Bolt. Is the all-electric Chevy, $28,995, 250 miles of range, or therein, somewhere near there. And everybody I know that bought one of these cars loves it. My friend JD bought one. I found him one during COVID. He had to go up to Oregon to get it, but I found it for him at sticker price, and he loves the car. A few other people I've spoken to that I know that got them, love them. It may be the best thing General Motors has done in the last couple of years, this car. It is an affordable, attainable electric car with decent range. If you're looking for that electric car that will get you around the city and also take you on a long enough trip and back, quick charging, all of that stuff. The attractive, the Bolt fits the bill, but Chevy announced, well, they haven't announced it yet, but there's lots of rumors flying around the industry, and enough people have said it that are in the know that seem to know that there's only going to be an 18-month run of this car. They're going to build them for 18 months. And then that's it. That's all. If you don't get it by then, they're not going to build them anymore. They have to, they're bringing the one of the Buick SUVs, the production of that SUV, back from China. And they need that assembly line that the Bolt is being built on to build this Buick SUV. And so the Bolt is getting the boot. But for $28,995, like again, I said, I haven't driven the car yet. I will drive it as soon as Chevy gets one of the press fleet up here. I'm expecting that to be any day now. I'm supposed to be at the top of the list for that car. And I'll give you a full report on it. But I expect that it's going to be, I mean, it doesn't look that much different from the outgoing Bolt. So if you're interested in that car, if you want an electric, you don't get the $7,500 tax credit. I suppose that Chevy will either give some incentives on the car. They've already dropped the price to $28,995, which is about where the car was without a lot of the options when it was out a couple of years ago. So we'll see what happens with the Bolt. I expect it to be a dynamite car. I expect it to be something that, you know, people in Seattle and in Washington and on the West Coast are going to love. Because its ability to drive an American-made car that's a good, solid car that has a track record, has decent range, and is a Chevy. And believe it or not, General Motors, Chevrolet, Buick, I don't know how the trucks have done so much, but I know that their cars have gotten rave reviews from not only the critics and the people that drive them and rate them and so on and so forth, but from the people that rate the the longevity of cars. The people that like Consumer Reports that look at a car and say, okay, what's it going to be like after you buy it? General Motors has scored good in those particular surveys, those particular numbers. So that's something to think about. And if you're in the market again for that kind of car, they're I think they're like I said, I've driven a couple of them. I've loved them. All right, got some bad news for you. This is one that I put on the website, on social media, I should say. But it looks like if you're going to buy a new car in 2026 or 27, that an old friend of ours is going to pop up. And that is the supply chain shortage, the chip shortage. Remember those? Remember that a couple of years ago during COVID, right after COVID, they had the chip shortage. You couldn't get chips for cars. Combination of a shortage of chips and the situation in China where they weren't letting people out of the houses, and a fire at a chip factory has had the chips in short supply, and you couldn't get chips for cars, and the cost of cars went up, the cost of buying a car went up, the cost of everything went up because the chips were short. Well, thank God there's no pandemic coming, but you can blame this time that guy that lives in your neighborhood that works for a high-tech company, because that's what's going on now. There are so many chips needed for these data centers that are being built and different AI applications. They need so much, I hope this AI works out, because there's so many, electric. There's so much being drawn off of electric. This is going to mean so many chips, and the chip factories that were brought here under President Biden, that were part of that CHIPS bill, if you remember a couple of years ago, still aren't built yet. That big factory that's going up in Ohio, that's not done yet. That's only a year, 2 years into it. So it's they're saying that this memory chip shortage could start to hit, and these are DRAM chips, dynamic random access memory chips. The different DRAM makers, Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron, are going toward the high bandwidth memory chip. But you need the wafers, the silicon, and all that stuff, but they make more money off of those chips. Excuse me. So you're in a situation now where the chip that you need for your cars is not going to get to your cars when they need them. Remember how many trucks that Ford had? What they have, 5,000 trucks, excuse me, sitting in a lot, 5 or 10,000 trucks that they needed chips for. General Motors was shipping trucks without the chips for something. So you got a car that everything didn't work in it. Reminiscent of after World War II when they were shipping cars without bumpers because they couldn't get chromium. I wasn't around then, but I heard. So that's something that you should be aware of, that this could happen coming up fairly soon. And, and I'm sure that that once if this comes true, again, these are all predictions, or this is a prediction. You don't know, but it stands to reason that if the car company have these problems getting these chips, as a matter of fact, the companies that they say will have more of an exposure, need more chips for their cars. The companies that will suffer the most will be Tesla and Rivian, much more than Ford or General Motors. So if you're going to get if you're going to get a Tesla, you're thinking about buying a Tesla, you might want to move on that. And they have plenty of them because for the second week in a row now, Tesla has gotten news that they're not number one anymore. Tesla's found out that Europe, they have dropped down to number 2 in making electric cars. They were king of the hill for a number of years, but Volkswagen has taken over from Tesla as the number 1 electric car maker in Europe. Their ID4, their ID bars, different vehicles that they have, they're electric. Now, of course, Europe is adopted electric cars much more than we have here in America. But now Volkswagen is the best-selling electric car in Europe, knocking Tesla down to number 2. I mean, how much longer is Elon Musk going to keep his job if this stuff keeps happening? Last week it was China. This week it's Europe. Who knows what's going to happen this upcoming week? If I was Elon, I might not want to get out of bed. I might say that's I'll stay in bed. All right, the best cars for older drivers for 2026 from U.S. News and World Reports. I don't know if they're ranked in any particular order, but these are the cars that if you're an older American like me, you should consider. What do we got here first? The 2026 Toyota RAV4. Comfortable, easy to drive. It was completely redesigned for 2026. Hybrid powertrain. They're all hybrids now. Not a particularly athletic car, but a car to get you from point A to point B. And it is reliable, as most Toyotas are. And, efficient, 42 to 48 miles per gallon. And, older people on limited budgets, fixed incomes, need to look at this. Because older people tend to like to buy new cars more because they don't want the problems. They don't want to buy a used car or they don't want a car that's under warranty. If something goes wrong with it, they take it into the dealer and it's covered. So, what else is the Kia Soul, best budget option, according to U.S. News. My friend Jill just bought a Soul. I haven't gotten a report yet from her on how much she loves it, but I think she got the car for, $21,000, something like that. And it's a great car. I love the Soul. I have always loved the Kia Soul. From the time I got in the first one to the Hamsters and right on through till when they stopped making it. Kia Soul is one of the best cars that you can buy. It's first of all, it's easy to get in and out of. Second of all, it has a high roof. You can see everything. Third of all, it has an engine. It's bulletproof. It's a comfortable car to drive. I've taken them on road trips a couple of times and have enjoyed the car immensely. You can fit a ton of stuff into it if you're a thrifter or a garage sale goer or somebody who has to, throw stuff in the car. You can throw a lot of stuff into a Kia Soul. Great car. Most comfortable car, they say, is the 2026 Genesis GV70. How do you go wrong with a Genesis? I've loved every one I've driven. Haven't found a loser yet. And they got that shift knob in the middle, the orb that's mesmerizing. Best gas mileage, and if you're looking for a car, not an SUV, some older people like to drive a car. The Toyota Camry is a great car. You can buy them for, you can buy a new one for probably mid-30s. And it's a very user-friendly car. I drove a Camry from Pittsburgh out here to Seattle. And it was one of the best road cars I've ever driven. Just a great, and they're all hybrids now, so you get phenomenal gas mileage. The only thing that you got to be careful of with the Camry is if you have a lot of passengers and they're tall, the roof kind of slopes down in the back, so you'd have to get your tall friends to go with you. The most reliable, what did I tell you about Buick, right? The most reliable SUV, according to U.S. News and World Report, is the 2026 Buick Encore GX. Buick has done a great job in building cars that are trouble-free, that are accessible, that are good for families, that are good for older people, that are good for they're good for anybody. And the reliability on this thing is 90 out of 100. That's Toyota territory. That's Toyota territory. But Buick is, and I've driven the Avenir, I've driven another Buick, very spacious cabin, not a lot of stuff in the interior. Some of these cars you get into, like the Land Rover, it's great. It's a technical wizard, but you could spend a week sitting there trying to figure out where the radio station is, where the satellite radio station is. That you want to hear the Beatles, you got to, these Buicks tend to be very simple, very easy cars to operate. Nice steering feel. They started around $26,100. The Encore GX. The Mazda CX-5. We've talked about the Mazda several times on this show. Love the Mazda. You can, if you're thinking about a RAV4 and you can't get a RAV4, the CX-5 is a nice, solid substitute. I'll move through them a little quickly here. A Honda Accord is on the list. Can't go wrong with a Honda Accord. Again, nice car, passenger car, roomy, solid, reliable, big trunk, and it's easy to operate. The system, the entertainment system, and the infotainment system is easy to operate. Solid car, great safety systems. One of the safest cars you can buy, the Honda Accord. I think they go for about $28,000, $29,000 to start. I'm glad this one made the list because this is one of my favorites. It was the car of the year for us, the Ford Maverick, the little pickup truck. If you're somebody who has a house, you have a house in the country, maybe you have to haul stuff up there, haul stuff back, the Ford Maverick is a solid choice. Whether you go for the Lobo and, the fancy one, or you just go for a base Maverick. It's just a good, solid, economical car. Hybrid powertrain, all-wheel drive, and it'd probably go mid-30s with all of that stuff. Small package, great car to drive. You want something a little more luxurious? $52,000 to get, Lexus RX Hybrid. We just tested the RX Hybrid a few weeks ago. Spectacular car. Again, Toyota reliability, roomy. They figured out the infotainment system stuff that they may have had some problems with earlier in the car's run, and you're driving a Lexus. Today, that's equal in the old days to like driving a Cadillac. It's a nice luxury car, and even in their most inexpensive Lexus, makes you feel like you're driving a luxury car. The interiors are far and away some of the best interiors in cars, yet they're simple. It's simple and spelled out how to operate it. You're not sitting there for 3 hours trying to find the heater switch. It's there. And it's easy to find. A very elegant car too, and that one in hybrid. That's about, like I said, about $52,000. You're looking for a passenger car? My friend bought one of these 2 years ago, and she loves it. She thinks it's the best car she ever owned. $26,900 for the Hyundai Sonata. It's not the flashiest car out there. It's not but it is great transportation. Again, for an older person, we're not looking to impress people. We're just looking to drive a good, solid car that will get us from point A to point B and not have trouble. And that's what the Hyundai gives you. It's whether you're taking a long trip in this car or you're going down the street to the shopping mall. This car will do it for you. It's got an all-wheel drive option. It's a reliable car. And I think the Sonata, you can get into them for $30,000. And the Honda Civic on the list as well. You can buy these for $24,000, $25,000, probably $26,000, $27,000 with a couple of options. And it is solidly a great small car. If you're like me, you're older, you're expansive a little bit. You want something to kind of expand, you can get into easy and out of easy. Maybe the Civic is a little bit small for you, but that's the Accord then. Yeah, you go for a bigger car, has wider door openings. But it does have a nice spacious feel to it. Seriously. And also on the list is a perennial on any best cars list, the Subaru Outback. Again, the Subaru Outback, it's a great, it used to be more of a station wagon. They've kind of morphed it into more of an SUV, going after a bit of the younger market. But it's hard to beat a Subaru. It really is. And you can find all of that on U.S. News and World Report. If you're thinking of buying a car, they have a buying service right there. You can click right on through it and get an idea of the car and see more of the technical facts of the car. And then they can, have a number of shopping tools that'll help you out. Our friend John Vincent is the automotive editor over there, and he always does a great job when he comes on the show and talks to us about cars. All right, this show is brought to you by George Jackson Promotions, GJ Promo. If you are looking for business promotional items for your business, if you're looking for things for your sports team, for awards, all different kinds of business promotional items, jackets, different things that they have today that they give to people. If you have a sports team and you're trying to get jackets for your parents of the kids on the team or something like that, George can handle it. Let George do it. He's good at this stuff. He's my friend. He is been a supporter of this show since the beginning, and he is top notch. I know it's easy to look at the commercials and go on one of these computer things, and you put the thing in and the logo, and you type it up, and they send you a thing back, and you don't even have to talk to a human being. But why would you not want to talk to George? If you have a question, you don't talk to a chatbot. You talk to George. If you're wondering, well, is an extra large fit a 2XL, or should I buy it a little bit bigger? Should I buy it a little bit smaller? The website is going to answer that question for you. They'll tell you, well, go look in the forums. Go look at the reviews. Go look at this. Go look at that. Well, you don't have to go look at all of that. You just click on that thing, and George is there to tell you it. You talk to George. You pick up the phone. If your stuff doesn't come when you thought it was going to come, you pick up the phone and you talk to George. Well, I'm going to tell you, that very rarely happens. So if you're looking for business promotional items, find them on Facebook at George Jackson Promotions. Find them on the web at gjpromo.com. But find them. It's a great time. People are thinking about family reunions now. And the big thing on family reunions is to give everybody gets a gift when they come to the family reunion, a journal or this or that, or those disposable cameras that people can take pictures and this and that and the other thing. Well, George will get those things with the family name printed on them. Get T-shirts, the Manufaccio family reunion, and get them for you in white and red and green. Hey, the Manufaccio family reunion. He get them for you. He did the T-shirts for my my In a Coma, Not Tacoma tour back a couple of years ago. The shirts are still going strong. So something that you should think about if you are in the mindset of doing that. Like I said, George will take care of you. As good as anybody will. Anybody can. All right, we continue on. Thank you, George, for sponsoring the show, and thank you for participating in this show. And we also thank you all for participating in the show as well. You can always email me. I'm available at Vinnie at drivetime-radio.com. We will have live coverage from the Portland Auto Show next, I think that's in 2 weeks. It might be 3 weeks. Yeah, it's not going to be, it's the weekend after the Super Bowl. And we all know that we're going to be watching the Seahawks in the Super Bowl, right? I don't want to jinx it or anything, but I'm fully on board with the Seahawks winning tomorrow, as I'm sure you are too. I think it's going to be a good game tomorrow. And if you are thinking about a place to watch the game, my friend Mike Brown, Brownie, my good friend Mike Brown, he's got a Super Bowl, not Super Bowl, what am I saying? An NFC championship game party going. You should, by all means, go over there and check it out. Yeah, we got to stop this thing a second. I don't know why it does this, but it does it. It's like that thing, I don't know why I love you, but I do, that song. Well, I don't know why this thing goes like that, but it does. One of these days I'll be able to figure it out. Anyway, Brownie is going to be over at the Aurora Borealis on Aurora Avenue in Shoreline tomorrow. I think the doors open at like 2:30. And they'll be putting on a party there. And he's always doing, putting on a party. He's one of those guys that are always putting on a party. Well, this football party, Mike does these football parties. And This will be, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Sunday at 3:30, food and drink specials, $17 pitchers of Coors Light. There's raffles and all sorts of different things that Brownie puts together. It's up at 16708 Aurora Avenue North in Shoreline. And I haven't figured out if I'm going to go down there yet. Use the rear entrance to the Aurora Borealis. Matter of fact, it's the same place that Cars and Coffee, Shoreline Cars and Coffee, have their Cars and Coffee every Saturday morning. So go, have fun, hang out with other Seahawk fans, and enjoy yourself. Watch the game with a bunch of other people. I have it on my Facebook page at nyvinnyrichichi.com, nyvinnyrichichi on Facebook. If you want to write down the stuff. But it's a great time, and if you're not going to the game, it's a great place to hang out with other Seahawk fans that are going to, they're kind of into the same thing you are. I got my Jim Zorn jersey on for good luck. I always invoke Jim Zorn's name whenever there's playoffs because I think that, well, I don't know, with the Seahawks, he was just one of my favorite quarterbacks. Sometimes you like guys not because they're the best quarterback, not because he was one of my favorites. Always has been. So, Jimmy Zorn, if you're out there, have a good. He's probably going to be at the stadium, I think, tomorrow, because I know he was coaching a team for a while too, a football team in that kind of professional, semi-professional league. Anyway, I'm thinking of you, buddy. All right. Question I get asked a lot, of course, is the question of the week. Let me get my my electronics out here. And so I can talk to you a little bit about one of the cars I think is well, I'm driving this thing this week, and it's a solid car. Let's add it to the stage and bring it in. There we go. A little ice on the windshield yesterday morning, but there it is. The Subaru Forester Wilderness Edition. Now, the Forester is is a great car. Subaru is a great car. The Forester is a great car. Well, what they've done here with this Subaru Forester is they created a car that with this Wilderness Edition that gives you a tougher look. There was just a survey put out that basically said that the Wilderness models for Subaru attract male buyers. Traditionally, Subaru buyers are thought of as women. Well, they are women, not thought of as women. That they make the decision and they buy them. So Subaru wanted to do something that you get a little Quien Mas Macho going. And so they created these Wilderness Editions. And this car really lives up to that Wilderness Edition. It's got a higher clearance, so it's good for light off-roading. I mean, I don't know if I take it where I took the Land Rover or anything like that, but it's light off-roading. It has plenty of room to store your gear or whatever you need to store in there. You get the Forester mat in the back to keep snow stuff dry. It is, it's got neat things like a button so you can if you got to put something long in there, the seat goes down. It's really a car that I think, again, is a solid choice if you're looking for a car that will serve you both as a daily driver and you want something that's car-like, that's not really SUV-like, but is much more car-like, will take you off-road, limited off-road, again, not gonna go rock climbing in this thing, but you're gonna get to grandma's cabin in the woods with it pretty easy. Solid interior with stuff, materials that are really nice, wipe off and things like that. I don't know. I left the radio on when I was taping, and the dashboard well laid out. You have the big screen in the middle with your infotainment system. It's got the boxer engine, the symmetrical all-wheel drive. They're solid. People that buy them love them, and you've got a Jagunda big speaker in the back to listen to the radio with. And again, solid car. Even at Woods Coffee, getting my coffee and my energy drink. Easily operated entertainment system. It has the Starlink system that's really fine, really gives you a lot of different informational and educational stuff about the car. The way the car looks as you look at the dashboard, it's easy to read. They put some nice textures material into the interior so you can see that kind of stuff. It's a solid car. And I forget, I think it's got about 260 horsepower. Don't quote me on that, but somewhere in the 260. I haven't done the engine thing quite yet, so I don't have to know. But I know it's got a lot of get up and go. It has the suspension it has different modes that you can put it into. So if you want sport mode, if you want off-road mode, if you want a comfort mode, it does all of that. This car retails for about $42,000. And everybody I know that owns a Forester, that I have talked to about buying a Forester because I've thought that it fits their needs, loves this car. All of them. So that's what I'm driving this week. We'll give you a longer review of it in the weeks to come. But it really is a solid effort by Subaru, and your pets will love it. Listen, I give Subaru points for some of the stuff that they do. As far as with charities, they always put a lot of their money toward charities and the stuff that they do at the auto shows with dogs and trying to get dogs adopted. That's what they dedicate their spots at the auto show to. They bring a whole bunch of dogs down. And listen, 5-6 years in a row now, I've almost left the auto show with a dog from the Subaru adopted dog program. So they do a great job with that. And so it's a solid car. I'll be excited to tell you a little bit more about it. I'm going to take it off-road sometime this week. Get up off the couch and go take it out for a nice off-road ride. I was even thinking maybe if it stays clear, I know the Aurora Borealis has been out, maybe taking it up for a night run somewhere where it's clear. I think it's supposed to cloud up, but maybe if tomorrow night after the game stays clear, might be a good place to go up and and kind of enjoy that. But that's the Subaru a Forester Wilderness Edition. And just another quick thing, they get the little scoops on the side, the cooling fins for the brakes. Very important when you're off-roading. You're using the brakes instead of using the hill hold, which you should be using. Great hill hold ability, great off-road. The little tricks that they put in this car now, or put in most cars, but especially in this Subaru, really make this an interesting and pleasurable car to drive off-road. Again, limited off-road. Don't go traipsing through, 8 feet of snow in this thing. But I got a funny feeling that it would get you through 8 feet of snow if you wanted it to. But I'm not going to tell you to do that. I don't want to be the one you don't come home, you're buried in a snowstorm for 6 days. You come back and you say, damn it, Vinnie, you told me to, do this. Go in a snowstorm. Now, while we're talking about Subarus, I love this new feature that we've, because, one of the things that I notice, I'm always driving around and I see these great cars. I mean, I always spot these interesting cars. And so I figured that I would do a little feature and show you some of the cars that I've spotted as I've been driving. And I really like the ability to do this and to show you these great little rides that are from the past. You don't see them anymore. They're rare pieces, and yet they're out. They're driving. They're parked on the street. They're generally a car that somebody still uses. Like this one, I thought it was really good. This is a Subaru Baja. When's the last time you saw one of those? Baja was around from 2003 to 2006. It was, it was a great pickup truck. A small bed. It had a little piece that folded down, so it had longer stuff. You could put the back seats down, fold them down, and use it too. It was the Legacy Outback wagon.
Last time you saw, excuse me, a Baja. When's the last time you saw one of those?
It was a great idea, the Subaru Baja. What hurt the Baja a little bit, I think, is that they didn't come out with the turbo version right away. So it was kind of underpowered until the second year when they brought out the turbo version. And, people started to respond to that. It was, I think they made them here. They made them in Indiana, and they were sold here in Canada and Chile. And they called it a multiple choice vehicle. And they didn't advertise it probably like they should have. And at the time, J.D. Powers said that car won the award for the most appealing compact pickup. And it's strange because that's the kind of car I think that the kind of pickup truck that we need, much more than those big Barouches that we see around all the time. Give me that car another time. Give me that one, man. That was just a solid car, had the Subaru workings of the Outback, and it fulfilled a need. As a matter of fact, one guy called it the Swiss Army knife of pickup trucks because you could, put a lot of stuff in there. You could put longer stuff in. It also had a piece in the back that folded out. So I think out of a 4.5-foot bed, you could get the thing out to about 6 or 7 feet. And it was a solid effort by Subaru. Car a lot of people loved. I know a lot of people still love them. I would love to have one. I just think they're, I love car, truck, pickup trucks. I love, I had El Caminos for years. I love the concept of taking a car and making it a pickup truck. I always thought it was a great thing that Chevy had done that and Ford had done that with the Ranchero and the El Camino, because they were cars that people could drive, that had utility, that allowed you to have the convenience of a pickup truck. And again, most people with pickup trucks now never load them up. They never use half the pickup truck. So this is a perfect vehicle for that. I hope, there's rumors every year that Subaru is going to reincarnate the Baja or the Brat, which was the one that they had before the Baja. That was the one that had the 2 seats in the back and very cool little car. But it never seems to come to fruition. But certainly it's a car that I think would do well right now. Hyundai has something similar with their Santa Cruz. And again, I don't know why they don't sell more, but if you're looking for that city type of pickup truck, or if you have a small business, a delivery business, they're perfect cars for that. Really unbelievable cars. So anyway, that's our car spotting for this week. If you have a car in your neighborhood that you think should appear on car spotting, by all means, send me the location of where it is, and I'll try to get over there and snap a picture of it. We'll have another great car of the past for you next week on car spotting. All right, time to jump into our excuse me, our radio road test. Yeah, if you want to attract males, put one of those cars out, Subaru. I mean, you say you got the Wilderness. Would you buy a Baja Wilderness Edition? In a minute, in a plug minute, I'd go down to the Subaru dealer and buy one of those. Especially a hybrid. What a great car that would be. Anyway, let's jump into the what are we jumping into here? Yeah, the Land Rover. Yes, the Land Rover. Love this Land Rover. I'm enamored with the Land Rover. The Range Rover Land Rover, or the Land Rover Range Rover Sport. I love this ride. Took it on off-road, into a heavier off-road course that I like to frequent, and got a chance to drive it around north, up by Canada, up by the border. And what a pleasure to drive. What a great car to drive on the road and off the road. I mean, it really is. On the road, it has great road manners. It's a vehicle that that looks and feels comfortable. It looks stylish. It has that rake look as it's sitting there. That it's, some cars that even when they sit there, they look like they're in motion. And this is one of those cars. It looks great from the outside. Door passages are easy to get in and out of. The interior is spectacular. Let me throw this up on stage here and show you that this vehicle was really, I mean, look at this. As you're just sitting there watching it off road. It's just it combines class and utility and power and everything that you'd want in an off-road vehicle. Now, again, some people would say you're going to spend $130,000 for a vehicle. You might not want to take it off-road. Well, but that's what this vehicle is designed for. This vehicle is designed to take it off-road, and it does it as well, if not better, than almost anything out there. It's a smaller version of the big Land Rover, but boy, this thing just eats up the off-road. Whether you're going on, rocks or deep inclines, it even has a thing where it has a setting for fording streams. This thing will go in 2.5 feet of water safely. The interior, fine leather, not too ostentatious. It's got a infotainment system in the middle that controls everything on the vehicle, including the massaging seats. Oh, those massaging seats. You sit back, you put the heated seat on, you sit in that seat, you turn on the massage, and you get on I-5 and you go north. It keeps you informed about, here's that the waiting thing. 2.5 feet, you can go in, it'll keep you informed, it'll raise the vehicle. Again, all of the things that you want in a vehicle to take you off-road, and all of the things that you want in a vehicle. It's 500 and change horsepower. Has an 8-speed automatic, and it is simply a spectacular vehicle to drive, to own, to sit in, and feel like you're someplace else, someplace that you want to be instead of someplace that you are. It gives you that feeling. It puts you in that place. sundown in the forest driving this vehicle was incredible. And again, I'm not going to lie to you and say that the post-sale thing is, you have to worry. They do have a tendency to break down. A lot of people always tell me that that's a maintenance question. My friend Scotty across the street from me in Pittsburgh, he had one. I never saw it break down. He loved it. Never had any problem with it. But again, this vehicle, that's just a luxury. And this is a plug-in hybrid vehicle. I love a car that changes to your team colors. Orange and blue for the Mets. Look, the headlights are spectacular. They see through the fog. They see through the dark. They really give you, again, a feeling of, as you sit up high in this thing, a feeling that you can handle any situation that's thrown at you on the road. I don't know why they have two shark fins on the top of this thing, but they do. But again, a vigorous off-roader. It's a high-ranking vehicle, and all of the people that rank off-road vehicles, as I said, $130,000. This one had was really an unbelievable. This was the autobiography edition, and so you have higher horsepower, four-wheel steering, the hybrid powertrain that gave you 543 horsepower combined, the 8-speed automatic, the drivetrain, the suspension that you could raise and lower, cameras all over the place so you could see. And I got to tell you that there's something really cool about having all of those cameras where you can look under this thing and see without having to get out what you're going over. It just makes it so much easier for you to go four-wheeling, to look under it, and to see that you have the room to do what you want to do. 0 to 60 times, I think it's a 4.8 second 0 to 60 times, somewhere in there. It had enough, with 500 and change horsepower, it had enough power to get you going wherever you wanted to go. Getting on the freeway was no problem with this thing. It's not the quickest in the class, and also they've increased the towing in this thing you can tow 6,614 pounds is the maximum capacity with the hybrid. And you get about 48 to 50 miles on electric alone if you plug it in and keep it charged, which if you buy a plug-in hybrid, like we were saying last week with John Vincent, if you buy a plug-in hybrid, why would you not plug it in? Doesn't make a lot of sense, but people don't make a lot of sense to me these days. What are you going to do? But solid vehicle, about 20 miles per gallon. But again, if you're buying this vehicle, you're looking at the cost of gas or what the gas mileage is. You're buying this vehicle because it's an extremely comfortable vehicle. It ticks off all of the boxes. And what I like about the Range Rover, the Land Rover Sport, is, again, the infotainment system. Once you figure it out, it does something very well. It keeps you informed about what's going on in the vehicle, around the vehicle, the distribution of the all-wheel drive, the four-wheel drive, which way it's going, what you have to do to get it. It really gives you so much information. And if you're not one of those people that were born with that feel for off-road driving, that information comes in handy. It's nice to be able to, hit a couple of buttons and look into this thing and look into what your vehicle is doing. If you don't know it by feel, and a lot of people that off-road, you should know it by feel. My Toyota Tacoma has a speedometer and a tachometer, and that's all I need. Well, good for you. Good for you. There's a lot of people that love this feeling of off-roading, love this feeling of getting off the road, love this feeling of going into mud, and they don't have your ability. So they need a little help. And this vehicle helps them. And if it helps somebody enjoy the sport of going off-road, if it helps somebody enjoy their vehicle by going off-road and climbing up a mountain and getting out of this hustle bustle crap that we got to live with every day, and getting away from the media and getting away from Trump this and Trump that all the time, or this and that and this tactic, all of this, the buzz that you got to hear all day. That's the great thing about a vehicle like this. That's the great thing about this vehicle. You go, you grab yourself a sandwich and a grape soda. You stick it in the refrigerator that's in the center console. You drive up to the top of a mountain somewhere up by Darrington or Arlington, or, in the backwoods up there. You take a little ride up the Route 20, and you find yourself a little forest road, and you go up the forest road. You find yourself a little cutoff, and you sit there and you communicate with nature. Maybe you stop next to a brook or a stream that's going. You sit and you listen to that for a half hour while you're eating your sandwich and drinking your chocolate milk. That's right. I said grape soda, but chocolate milk is, you can take the chocolate milk because of the refrigerator in the center console, and it's the coldest refrigerator I've ever felt. It kept ice cream cold. Okay? It's a solid feeling. And I know it cost you $120,000 to do it, plus whatever else you got to pay. You know what? I'm lucky enough to get to drive it for a week, and it did my head a world of good. It really did. It made me feel like I could get away from it all. And that's, for a vehicle like this, that's one of the most beautiful things you can do, is be able to get away from it all. I'll spend next week, the Subaru's like that too, in a lot of ways too. I don't know if it'll take you as far off the road as the Range Rover will, but same idea. Is one thing about these vehicles is they get you away from it, and they get you into places. We're lucky enough up here in Washington to live in a place where we have these different places that we can go and get away from it within an hour and a half drive. Can't tell you how many times I've gone up to Darrington, and I test the cars on the Joe, the course that I've laid out to test all these cars on. Well, just away from the Joe, a few miles, is just this great spot that you got to go off the road. You go up a hill, up the side of a mountain, and the only thing you see there is people fishing and people enjoying some time away from it. And it's one of the coolest places that you can go. And I'm a city boy. I grew up, in New York City, if you couldn't tell by the accent, by bus lines and this and that. I treasure a car like this, and I treasure the time that you can take to get away from it all. And I would predict that you will treasure that time too, if you have the means to buy something like this, or you're in that market for a vehicle that will take you off-road and it will take you away from it. You can make no better investment in your sanity than this Land Rover Range Rover Sport autobiography edition. All right. I've given this car about as much props as I can without starting to sound like a salesman for it. So again, I want to remind you that tomorrow, if you want to go see the championship game, Aurora Borealis on Aurora Avenue and Shoreline. I don't know if I'm going to stop down with Mike Brown yet and see him, but I'll try to spend some time with him and go down there and watch the Seahawks. Go Seahawks. I really want to see this team go back to the Super Bowl. This is their opportunity. And I think we could use a couple of weeks of, remember how I'm going to get on my soapbox here for just a second. Remember how we all got during the Mariners run? Remember how we all got where we weren't judging people on what their political affiliation was, weren't judging people on what kind of car they drove. The only thing we cared is they were Mariner fans like we were. We were all together. We had a unifying, common goal to see the Mariners go to the World Series. Well, we fell short of that goal. But maybe the Seahawks can get us to a championship game. Maybe the Seahawks can bring us together. And it's been long enough since the last Super Bowl that you won't take it for granted of getting to the Super Bowl. It won't be something that you just take for granted. It'll be something that you'll cherish. You'll cherish it with your kids if you're lucky enough to go to the game. I think it's going to be interesting. I think I-5 will be interesting. If the Seahawks win, will be a very interesting place to be the next 2 weeks, because you'll see a lot of people from Seattle driving down to the Bay Area, much as it was, oddly enough, in the first time they went to the Super Bowl, when it was in Detroit, and all the people from Pittsburgh were going to the game at Ford Field. It's a I don't know, I forget how many hours, 8-hour drive from Pittsburgh to Detroit. I think it's less than, I think it's 6 hours. So the Pittsburgh fans showed up. The place was loaded with them. Well, Seahawks fans will show up for this Super Bowl as well if they can afford to get tickets. That'll be nuts, man. Well, how nice would it be to make it a home crowd for the Seahawks in the 49ers stadium? That would be awesome. All right. I've spoken way too much. George Jackson, our sponsor, GJPromo.com. Find them on Facebook at GJ Promo. And if you need business specialties, if you need advertising specialties, you need T-shirts. You want to get T-shirts for your Super Bowl party. George is the perfect guy to call. I bet you he can get them done for you by your Super Bowl party. How cool would it be to give everybody that comes to your Super Bowl party a T-shirt? I was there at Mortimer's Super Bowl party in 2026. I was there. Yeah. And you wear that thing. You have that souvenir to have to hold for the rest of your life. I was there for Mortimer's. What would Mortimer's Super Bowl Seahawk party be like? All right. Go Seahawks. We'll see you. I'll see you Monday with Michael. If the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. Till then, be nice to each other. And remember, you know what'll get you a long way in this life? Like my friend Sammy Davis Jr. used to say all the time. Peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye. See you next week.